Welcome everybody to Forza Motorsport 6, and today we're taking a look at the 2005 Pontiac Aztek. Now this was recently released with the Alpine Stars car pack, and yes, my god is this thing ugly. And I know that's not an unpopular opinion, but it's quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, the truth. And yeah, I have no idea what they were thinking design wise at all, but we'll get to that in a minute. First we'll get to one of the other abominations of this car, and that's the engine. Now it's quite a sizable unit at 3.4 litres, and it's a V6, so you'd expect to get a fair amount of power out of it. I mean, it's only a 2005 car, so it's only 11 years old, so yeah, you'd expect plenty of power. But oh no, you only get 185 horsepower and 210 pounds-feet of torque, which is pitiful, quite frankly. Because if you compare it to another car in the recently released car pack, the Alfa Romeo Milano, it also has a V6 engine. It's slightly smaller at 3 litres, but it still produces 185 horsepower, exactly the same as this car. But that Alfa Romeo is 13 years older than this car, and weighs 1,000 pounds less, which is another thing about this car. It weighs 3,923 pounds, which is a hefty amount, especially for a car that doesn't even have 200 horsepower. And it's all black inside, so it's all boring, all plastic rubbish. Nothing in there that makes you want to drive it, and when you come out to have a look at it, you're also looking at something that's ugly. Now, practicality wise, you can only seat 5, so it's not a practical car to own, though it does have a sizable boot, and I like the tail lift arrangement and the hatch. But why on earth have they given the space where only inanimate objects are going to be stored all the light in the world, and not even given the car a sunroof? I don't know. Poor design choices all over on this car. Personally, I think it looks like two cars split in half on the front. The bonnet looks like one half of a car, and the front bumper looks like another half of a car. And then for whatever reason it has a spoiler, despite the fact it's front wheel drive. Granted, there was an all-wheel drive version, but this is in no way an SUV, even though it does have a high ride height. So yeah, it's not an SUV, it's not a practical family car, and because it has barely any power and a lot of weight, it's not a sports car either. So this really does have no market whatsoever, and that's primarily why it flopped. Never even achieved 30,000 sales back in the day, and it eventually dropped within 4 years or something like that, which is very short, and quite frankly sullied the brand of Pontiac, because they were known for their fast cars. Even the Trans Am from a few years ago, it was ugly, but it was a fast car with more than 300 horsepower and plenty of torque to go with it. But this is none of that. So yeah, let's take it onto the track and see what it lacks dynamically as well. Right, we're at Laguna Seca. We'll take it round on the first lap and talk through it on the second lap. Right, so we've already talked about two of the abominations of this car, the engine and the looks, and the third abomination is the automatic gearbox. Utterly woeful. It just doesn't do anything really. It's anything but a gearbox. Most likely thinks it's a piece of celery for all I care, because it doesn't do anything that a gearbox should do. It's so slow, sluggish, and when you change down, it just revs up. And you saw when it started off, it hesitated. It was like, am I going forwards? And then it realised it was going forwards, and then let the engine rev up, and it's just annoying. Then the fourth abomination, handling. Yeah, granted, I said there was an all-wheel drive version. This isn't the all-wheel drive version though. This is the front-wheel drive version. And I don't think the all-wheel drive version could be any better, quite frankly, because yeah, it has all-wheel drive, so you could get extra grip, and it does have independent rear suspension on the all-wheel drive version, but it would be heavier, and I don't think the all-wheel drive version had any more power, so it would be slower. And that's the fifth abomination thing, sort of linked to the engine, but also linked to the weight as well. Acceleration, 0 to 60, 10.8 seconds. 0 to 100, 32.8 seconds. And granted, that isn't the slowest, it's by no means the slowest car on the game. But combine that with everything else, it's just makes it all the more painful. Plus, it can only do 115 mile an hour as well, despite having a 3.4 litre V6. So yeah, there's really not a lot to like about this car. I mean, you could ironically say you like this car because, you know, it is in the Breaking Bad series, but I've never watched that, so I have no love for this car in any terms whatsoever. Now, I am happy it is in the game though, because quite frankly it makes me appreciate all the other good cars in the game. It even makes plenty of other cars that I might not even like all that much look a whole lot better. So yeah, there is that positive spin to look at it, but it's awful in every way, quite frankly. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.